4. The Bootstrap Paradox. Imagine that you travel through time and you can get anywhere and anytime. What would you do? Would you undo a historical tragedy? Would you shake hands with Nelson Mandela or Leonardo da Vinci? Or maybe you would go back to 2013 and invest in Bitcoin when it was $1. These are all exceptional events, but let's consider that you would do the following. You would borrow Shakespeare's tragedy, Romeo and Juliet, from the library. You would transcribe it on a blank notebook so that the author would not be seen, and you would go back in time and leave the notebook on Shakespeare's desk before he wrote the tragedy. He will notice how brilliant it is and publish it under his name. Now, the question arises, who wrote the play? You or Shakespeare? Feel free to pause the video at any time. Leave a comment with your answers and let's see who writes the most brilliant answer. In the first case, if you would have written the play, how come you borrowed and copied it from the bookstore? So you did not write it. And in the second case, if Shakespeare had written it, how come he copied it from you? So he didn't write the play either. So that's why this is a paradox, because until now, nobody could solve this riddle with its logic powers, but maybe you can. 3. Omnipotence Paradox. This is a very short and simple. Imagine God and consider him omnipotence, having unlimited power and potential. The question is, can God create a rock too heavy for itself to lift? If he can create a stone that he cannot lift, it means that he is not omnipotent because he cannot lift it. And if he cannot create the stone, it means that he is not omnipotent because he cannot create it. Do you think you can find a solution here? 2. The Barber Paradox. In a very strange town, the barber is the one who shaves all those, and only those who do not shave themselves. The question is, does the barber shave himself? Pause here and think about it. If he shaves himself, he cannot be the barber, since the barber does not shave himself. If he doesn't shave himself, he falls into the category of those who do not shave themselves, and so cannot be the barber. Number 1. The Card Paradox. Now, let's suppose you have one card with statements printed on both sides. On the first side of the card is written, "The sentence on the other side of this card is true." And on the second side is written, "The sentence on the other side of this card is false." What do you think? Which statement is true and which is false? Option 1. If the first statement is true, then so is the second. And if the second statement is true, then the first statement is false. And it follows that if the first statement is true, the first statement is also false, which is a contradiction. Option 2. If the first statement is false, then the second statement is false. And if the second statement is false, then the first statement is true. Now, it follows that if the first statement is false, the first statement is also true, which again is a contradiction. The same reasoning applies to the second statement, so none of the questions can be neither true nor false. Did you find the answer? Hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and now you can watch this video about bipolar disorder. See you there.